Taylor has revamped their popular T5z models with some great features, making this already great guitar even better. We're going to tell you all about it, so stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you are new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you like our videos. We appreciate it. And if you want to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag. Also, check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes coming soon. So, T5z, it's been around for a while. Started with the T5 model, which was really kind of a turning point with hybrid guitars.
Yeah.
You know, I think what they did really well was take the idea of a guitar that did acoustic and electric and make it a more simplistic approach.
Yeah.
It's wood and steel and smartly placed pickups with some cool switching. And then that came the T5z, a much more electric-oriented, better playing, smaller version of the T5. And now we have a new revamp of that, I don't know, I think we're both pretty smitten.
Yeah, it's all good changes for sure.
Yeah. I do feel like if we went through our videos and unearthed some old T5 videos of mine, I said some of these things, but maybe that just means that they were apparent, that they're obvious. I'll go with that. So we've got a pair here. I've got the new version of the T5z in Koa. So this is a custom model, and you've got the Pro.
I got the Pro, which will be all the maple top versions. But this is really pretty sunburst on here. The maple on this, it's not quite Koa, but it definitely rivals it in terms of beauty.
Yeah, when he was playing it, I was like, wow, that surpasses most Gibson custom shop stuff that we see. That's really, really nice maple. So fantastic guitars. Just looking at them, you can already kind of hopefully spot some of the changes if you are familiar with the T5z lineup. But we're going to go through the changes, some of the obvious ones, some of the less obvious ones, so that you know what's going on. First of all, they are still great guitars. They are still that winning combination of wood, steel, and smartly placed pickups with great switching that makes the T5z a great guitar. So if you're unfamiliar, you have a switch here on the top. This is where the 5 comes from. It's a thin line guitar with a 5-way switch. And you have 3 pickups on the guitar. You have a humbucker that is a stacked humbucker, so kind of like the width of a narrow single coil. It's hidden under the fingerboard. In the neck pocket, you have a exposed one down here by the bridge, and then behind the bridge, underneath the top, which is a solid braced top, you have a body sensor or top sensor that's picking up the vibration of that wood. And through the switching on the 5-way switch, you're able to go from acoustic sounds to all sorts of different electric tones that aren't modeled in any way. It's really just the pickups and the preamp doing their thing. Yeah. So the other thing that is a hallmark of the T5z that we were just talking about before we start rolling is how amazing they play.
Yeah.
And some of the changes here, I think, lean into the comfortability of that even more. And here's what I've always said, and it still freaks me out. We're doing this, I'm still kind of like, I don't get it. These are strung with 11 gauge electric guitar strings.
Yeah.
They're the same scale length that you'd find on a Gibson Les Paul. And they don't feel like 11s.
You shouldn't be able to.
There's a slinkiness to them that's just like defies logic.
Yeah.
Defies physics a bit. So it's still a T5. You've still got your switching, and we'll talk about that real quick. So first position's acoustic, and that is your neck, your warm neck pickup, and then the body sensor. And in that position, if you tap down there, you'll hear it. Because it's picking up the vibration of the body. The second position is going to be the neck pickup by itself, and that gives you typically a pretty good kind of Strat Telly neck pickup tone. Now, down here on the controls, which have moved, we'll talk about, you've got active EQ for bass and treble, so you can really contour that tone in order to fit the sound that you're wanting out of that pickup. Position 3 is the bridge by itself. It's a nice, bright, humbucky sound that you can make more bright or very warm with the EQ. And then fourth position are the 2 in parallel. That means you're getting them both kind of summed at the same time. Taylor's often called that kind of like a 40s hollow body sound.
Yeah.
And I think that fits pretty well. And then if you go to the 5th position, it's both pickups in series, which means there's a gain staging that's going on as the neck pickup goes through the bridge pickup. It's a hotter output, and I like 3 and 5 for good lead tones, which Cooper demonstrates in the video. So that's basically the rundown of what it's been. You want to talk about what's new?
Yeah, so if you notice, there's only one F-hole, and that's because the placement of the other F-hole was taken by the controls moving, which is, I think, was Chris's biggest thing on this guitar, probably a lot of people's biggest thing.
It's the reason I haven't had one.
Yeah.
You know, I lead worship at my church. I often, I do a lot with the volume control on guitars, and I rely on that for contouring and changing tone. I think people underestimate how much like a Strat tone can change if you just back off the volume a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's how I play, and having controls up here was never comfortable for me. So yeah, that was a big thing.
And the knob, like kind of shape and size, is so much more conducive to exactly what you're talking about, which is, you know, swelling into something.
And these are cool. We should talk about them. So Taylor calls these bell-shaped. They are bell-shaped. They look like little chocolate bells. They're very cool. It's the same preamp system as before. So you've got volume, bass, treble.
Yeah.
It's all active EQ, so you still have the battery compartment in the back. That would be a change I would make, but we'll talk about that later. So you've got your volume here, and there's a center detent on each one. So more important, I think, for the EQ controls, you can feel the center detent. And that, instead of having it like 0 or 10, like you'd have on an electric guitar, you kind of ride that center detent, and then you're adding or taking away with an active EQ. What's going on with bass and treble. So
yeah, which it's cool. The other thing, that like main attractor that at the NAMM show, we kind of got this back secret room to go look at them. There is a nice kind of bevel on the top that goes back into this armrest. I don't know how easily you can see it in the video, but it is definitely...
Well, you can look at this, of how much thinner this is right here.
Yeah.
Compared to up here.
So it's super comfortable. They did change the body wood on both of these to urban ash, and it's, you know, carved out even thinner than before, so they're extremely light. Got a nice armrest. We both love the reveal binding and the, you know, kind of just framing look of these guitars. And that reveal on the F-hole and around the exposed pickup is really very nice.
Yeah, so when I was first looking at it, I was kind of taking a look at first of all, I hadn't read the spec sheet. I didn't realize it was reveal binding. I was just like, oh, they're doing wood binding. That looks great. And then it was reveal binding. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's why the F-hole looks so different, because I was looking at it and it almost looked like it was wood inlaid instead of being bound. Well, what it is it's perfectly inlaid in the change of the finish. And it's striking. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah, very, very nice, kind of just sleek looking, sleek feeling. You know, it's sitting down even more comfortable, like on there, and the nice rounded edge and everything.
It feels like a smaller guitar.
Feels smaller. It feels lighter. It's so a lot of people are going to be happy with just the overall feel of these guitars.
And they look great. You know, one of the things too with the reveal binding is that they've taken, and like they've done on a lot of the Builder's Edition guitars, they've chamfered the edges. So there's not a hard edge on this guitar body at all. They've done, you know, they've had a bit of a curve on the back of the heel there, but I feel like it's increased. You know, it's even more comfortable going into that cutaway. And then one of the things I'm very glad that they did is there's only one strap button on the bottom. If you know, you know. I understood why they did that initially. They put two so you could kind of lean it. Who does? I use guitar stands. I didn't care about that. And when it came to putting a strap on, I was like, do I use the top button? Do I use the bottom button? It's just gonna change. Like, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's where I wanted the strap button the whole time, where it goes. The rest of the guitar, like I said, it's 24.785, I think, inch scale length, so about 24 3/4. You've got gold tuners on this, chrome tuners on that, and a really, really great feeling neck ebony, which, you know, you'd have to go to a custom shop for most guitar builders to get an electric guitar with an ebony fingerboard. And I forget, do you remember what this inlay is called?
T5 cool guy diamond thing. Yeah.
I feel like it was something artist, but it's not the artist inlay. Anyways, very cool inlay.
Assassin's Creed.
It's the Assassin's Creed weapon inlay.
Yeah.
So great guitars. You still, by the way, have that that acoustic bridge on here in ebony. And so I think what this does for most people is it not only sounds as a bridge between acoustic electric, but there's a feel that's a bit of a bridge between an acoustic electric.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the new changes that we're talking about are only currently available in the Pro and Custom model. The standard is going to be exactly the same. I'm sure that we will see some sort of change, Reagan style trickle down within the next little bit. But I think both of these, there are several different finishes on the Pros. You can get a really cool blue. There's, I think, cayenne red.
Yeah, cayenne red and harbor blue, I think is what it's called.
Something like that. Yeah, they look really sharp, but these are the first ones that we've gotten. We're definitely going to be seeing the other colors, and if the tops are as nice as they are on this one, they're going to all be pretty fantastic.
So Cooper's going to put them through their paces, and what you're going to hear is, again, that transition from an acoustic sound, which we're doing DI, directly into our recording unit. So that would be similar to going through your PA or through an acoustic amp. And then the rest of the sounds are going to be going through the Blues Junior. And you're going to do pretty much everything on the Pro and then switch over to the custom Koa model and really kind of up the gain and show exactly how far into the electric territory you can get with one of these. Spoiler, very. Yep. So let's check it out. So there you have it, demo of the new T5z refresh from Taylor Guitars. And I really kind of want one of these guitars. I have had and played T5s and not kept them in my lineup because I really, at times, need that acoustic and quick switch to an electric without switching guitars or having to take two guitars with me. You know, it's kind of ideal, but with the previous setup, I could never get comfortable with it, and so I didn't keep the guitars. But this is probably a bit of a game changer. I mean, they're just so beautiful. I don't even know which one I'd go with. The maple is so incredible.
I think that we've talked a lot about hybrids and kind of who they're for, and a lot of times with some other hybrids that might have like a big hole in the middle, the story is like, well, this is a great variety band guitar. You know, it's kind of a jack of all trades type thing. Something about these that I think everybody's always noticed, they have a sound of their own. It's not like you have a Rosewood Dreadnought sound and then a Tele sound and a Strat sound, a Les Paul sound. It all sounds like a T5Z, just EQ'd and switched around properly to fit into the spots that you would use those for. So I mean, yes, this would be totally more than enough for like a variety band, but I also think for like an artist, somebody that does want to move around a bunch of stuff, maybe you don't want to carry a bunch of pedals or a bunch of guitars, this will add kind of its own sound and flair, but the playability of them for any hybrid guitar out there, it's like the best feeling, easiest to play. I played, both of us played a couple other guitars today that we've got over here. Going from one, an 8-string baritone, and two, a couple Les Pauls,
to
this, it's like playing air.
It's like getting
ridiculous.
into a Ferrari.
Yeah, it's like nothing else. So
yeah,
the lightness, the ease of playing on the neck. I like that they switched it to the Urban Ash and made them a little made the body itself routed a little thinner because it's light and very, very comfortable. And
it's very cool. I'm taken aback by the lightness, the fact that it's not neck heavy.
Yeah,
really, it's very balanced. And yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking sometimes I come off the stage with like a sore shoulder, depending upon what I'm playing. You playing for so long, and I feel like you could play this all day long. So some things to note. I mentioned the battery compartment. This I'm not a fan of. It's very functional. I am a fan of the fact that it's a 9-volt battery. It's not like rechargeable. So if your battery's dead, you can just switch out a new battery. What I'm not a fan of is just the actual battery compartment. Only because I've got a friend who he seemed to always snag this, and he started just putting tape over it. So if there were a change, and I don't know how functional it would be to change that compartment a little bit. It does kind of look redesigned a bit, so it might be a little...
This is the first guitar that actually rashes your buckle.
It's the other way around. But I mean, it's a small complaint, and it does look like it may be a little bit different. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. As I mentioned, I like that it's just a single strap button, and all in all, it's a really cool guitar. So I think it's a home run so far. Oh, the other thing too is the way we were running this through is really ideally if you get one of these guitars and you want to take advantage of all of the sounds, how you should be running your rig. And so effectively, well, there's a few ways to do this. One way is how we've done it here, which is using an AB box. So Cooper's plugging into an AB box, and one of those lines is going out direct. So this is how you'd go directly into recording or to a PA or to an acoustic amp. And then the other line is going to your electric guitar amp, right? How do you think Blake would run this setup?
Blake would do a stereo left and right and have electric pedals going through a Bad Cat with 5 Strymons, and then the other side would be a whole suite of LR Baggs pedals, dialing a perfect acoustic tone straight into the PA, which is how I'd recommend that you do it as well. Yeah,
so all that say, our good friend Blake, who works here, he's got an amazing pedal board that most of us are envious of, and also plays in churches, and so he's got a lot of cool things. But some of the stuff that you would typically see on a lot of modern church stages would be like Helix setups and stuff, where you can actually, in something like that, have an acoustic patch and an electric patch. You don't need an AB box, so that'd be one way of going. And then the final way of going is to have an amp that's like a Sedona. Like a Riviera Sedona, where it's an acoustic amp that's also an electric amp. Bring your money, but those things are cool. The idea, though, is that if you want the acoustic sound, you need an acoustic signal chain, really to capitalize on that. And if you want a really good electric sound, you need an electric signal chain to capitalize on that. And then this is the guitar that you're running through there. So keep that in mind. If you really want to take advantage of the great sounds that this can offer, that's how you should do it.
And the fourth way of running it is playing it unplugged at home.
On your couch?
Because it sounds good.
It does sound good.
It's a perfect, I mean, this is for your couch in your vacation home in Monaco.
It really does sound good unplugged.
But yeah, it sounds nice unplugged, so that's the fourth way.
You know why? Because it's a thin body, but it's actually a real solid top that's braced.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference in the world. So, very cool guitars. We're very excited about them. We know you are too. And if you want more information about them, you should go to our website, which is
alamomusic.com.
Got it out so fast. And you can chat with an associate live there. You can check out the photos and specs of the guitar, compare them, reach out for help deciding on what you should get, if you need financing, all of those cool things. These are just coming out, so if you're watching this video and we've sold out, just bear with us. Give us a call. We can pre-order it for you. We've got more coming in on the way. Maybe I took one of these home already. My apologies, but know that I'm loving it a lot if that is indeed the case.
Yeah.
If you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. Keep coming back for more. We will see you next time.